we are a country of some few people with too much resources that they can just bring out money and erect billboard on behalf of a candidate. And the candidate might truly not know who is doing this. People do this on behalf of their preferred candidate without the knowledge of that candidate. The other time in Kaduna too, some people came up with money when El Rufai was contesting for a second term to say, I think it's the same 100 million, to say we are buying, they say they are farmers in Kaduna. They raised the money to say we are buying your
Some
farm.
people did that for Jonathan.
For Buhari to the same thing. So you see, all of this money, how do we track it? What are we going to call legal and illegal within the electoral framework? So these are the questions that we need to answer, because there will be excess liquidity in circulation. By the time they start convention, it starts from there.
This is SOUQ Business Landscape. The need for coordinated fiscal and monetary discipline should come to the limelight, and we should take it seriously. And Kaduna also want that the exchange rate conditions have improved and that the bank's tightening measures are beginning to yield measurable results. That we can see. Now, but however, he emphasized that Nigeria's recovery remains fragile and vulnerable to policy slippages, particularly if liquidity injection and unchecked public spending reverse recent stabilization efforts. The Apex Bank warned that failure to sustain reform momentum could reignite inflationary pressures, weaken investor confidence, and destabilize financial markets. Now, he's urging policymakers to align fiscal actions with ongoing monetary stabilization measures. And he had to really pass this information right at the powerhouse, the presidential villa. Okay, let's start this way. Towards the end of last year, this message just kept pumping up. Over 94% of the total cash in this country is not within the banking system. So the question we get to ask ourselves is, okay, now who is holding the money? Doc was saying those holding 5,000, 3,000 if you put them together. And we're saying, no, that's not, we don't agree. Who exactly is holding this money? But now we see the CBN governor also bringing another angle to it. Election settlements, politicians. Should we be scared? Or should we really take his advice? Or should we just wait and see?
I think the major problem is that a huge population of this country is still unbanked. Okay. The last time we had this conversation, I insisted that politicians in Nigeria keep cash, but I don't think they keep cash in local currencies. I think politicians in Nigeria keep their cash in foreign currency because with the value of the naira now, you need probably a room to hold maybe 200 million, 300 million.
Some of them do have them.
So, I in my own opinion, I don't agree, and I don't think Nigerian politicians hold local currency in that magnitude.
Okay.
And I think that a lot of Nigerians are unbanked.
Okay.
And during the last election, when there was no cash, politicians still mobilized their supporters with cash. Politicians were going into markets and they were buying cash off traders.
Okay.
So it didn't work. Politicians will still find their way. But if politicians were going into markets and they were buying 200 million, 300 million from local markets, and they were getting those cash. So what that tells you is that a lot of traders are still unbanked. A lot of Nigerians are still unbanked. The last time we talked about it, Dr. Idausa also made reference to something that is very, very important, which is insecurity. Okay. Ransom in Nigeria is going for average of 100 million to 200 million. And people are finding this money.
Are they kidnapping the governor's daughter that the person should pay ransom for 200 million?
Yeah, but that is what we've been saying. And people are paying for this ransom. Sometimes they kidnap 50, 100 people. And people come up with this these monies. No. For each person, people pay 100 million, 150 million, 50 million to rescue people in this country. It's in the news. This is an open secret. So people are finding this money. And some of this money are with the bandits in the bush. So we don't want to calculate how much ransom we've paid in cash that is with these criminals that are eating in the forest as well. But the main argument is for industries like agriculture, people that sell cow, people that sell grains in large quantity, especially in places that are dark spots with no network, they mainly transact in cash. And most of these people don't believe in conventional banks. They still are on bank population. That is my strong argument. And we need to do a lot to bring them into the banking sector.
So when you say we need to do a lot, who needs to do a lot?
The collective effort. The local government and the state government needs to do a lot with educating them. The banks themselves, they need to find a way to woo these people. They need to find out what is their concern to bring them in. Sometimes there might be religious and tribal reasons. Okay. For example, up north, the conventional bank that we run is against the Islam faith. And we know in up north, they take Islam beyond just the surface level, the way we practice it down south. So there's something they call riba in Islam. It's an Arabic word for interest, which is haram. Haram means it's not good for faith. So a lot of people don't want to mix their money with money that their interest is being charged on. So there is that part too. Okay. Today we have 3 Islamic banks. This is a market that they might be able to tap into. So there are so many constraints why people don't want to put their money in conventional bank. But I know that a significant number of Nigerians in their millions in numbers don't still believe in conventional banks.
Not banked. Okay. I like when you say we need to work. I think we'll throw that work to the banks and the CBN. They declare profit every year, and they don't get to share with us that are not their shareholders. Okay. The Knight, let me come to you. Cardoso was being specific, and he asked some, but he brought up some major points. He said this is an election year, and he was appealing. Please, this is where we are. We have some stability. By the time you start pumping money up and down, it might destabilize some issues. If you were in his shoes now, how will you talk to the politicians? Because we know they have some money. Well, it might not be naira like Amin said, but they don't want to convert that dollar or pounds or yen to naira.
They will definitely convert to.
And there goes pressure.
That's why we have vote buying, and all that. We all remember what happened during the last administration when one particular former central bank governor tried to do what he thought he could do best to tame vote buying and all this. And, the larger part of Nigerian citizens bore the brunt of it. We saw what happened, how, the cash swap became, you had to use naira to buy naira. You go to banks and they tell you can only withdraw 2,000 naira. And you wait in the queue for about 2 hours. It was terrible. And Emefiele thought he was trying to do best. But he made mention of something. He said there was a particular governor. Then he's a former governor now. He said there was a particular governor who had so much money, I think over 500 billion in his house. I don't know whether the EFCC took wind of that or what happened to that particular allegation and all that, but it was in the news. He kept on saying it, that this particular governor who had so much money. And we saw what happened, someone said, and all that. But so the question now is, Emefiele tried. Some people will say he didn't succeed. Cardoso, what are you going to do about it? It's another election circle whereby mint reeks. Mint will be smelling everywhere. Even during that cash swap, people were spraying mint. Mm-hmm. And you wonder that where are these people getting this mint from? So now, Amin made mention of one thing which I also believe is the cause, ransom. It's a major factor that we need to consider because cash is very hard to trace. And politicians know this, so that's why they carry a whole lot of cash. It's very hard to trace when you give you cash. So, and I don't know whether it's possible we could have a policy. Then again, lawmakers might put a bottleneck to it. If you can have a policy whereby there's a stipulated amount of money you can carry
At any given
at
time.
any given time, if you can have that policy in place before the election, maybe that might take it. And if the EFCC also
Who
gets
is going
into-
to pass the policy? The people that.
That's why I
carry the money.
said they will put a bottleneck to it.
Okay.
The lawmakers, if it doesn't favor them, they put a bottleneck to it. If it doesn't favor them, they will not pass that kind of bill. So I think at this point now, Cardoso can appeal. Thank God the person ruling us is also a party leader. He knows, he bore the brunt of the last election. So he's in a better position to understand why Cardoso is coming out to scream like this. Emefiele did the same thing. He tried, but it wasn't successful. So are we going to have another Naira redesign, cash swap, or what are we going to do? It's another thing entirely. But I believe that if EFCC, security agencies, if they are up and running, we should be able to, tame this a bit.
We should be able to tame this a bit. Now, coming from this other side, the thing on the table is over 94% of money is not banked. You 100% believe that a lot of these monies are in the hands of people that don't believe in the system and markets outside the major metropolitan areas. Okay, you're coming from a part of the politicians. Okay, is it also possible where we can have a policy that limits the amount of, you can't spend more than this on an election? It came up some 2 seconds ago.
It is part of our constitution.
It came up 2 seconds ago, but they still do not take it serious.
So every election and every campaign has a spend limit that is enshrined in our constitution, but we don't have a forensic way to audit and enforce. For example, in America, they just don't audit and monitor and enforce. There's a way they look at every penny that comes into your campaign. So, and if there is $1 that is coming from foreign country, you can be disqualified as a candidate because that will amount to foreign forces in their democracy. So that is how thorough they are. But in Nigeria, for example, one candidate can have 10 campaign accounts. Beyond that, 100 volunteers. We have seen cases where a billboard will be erect when campaign has not officially kicked off by INEC. And the candidates will say, I don't even know about the billboard. It's only in Nigeria that happened. And
yeah, but we see billboards everywhere.
And that is
right now.
That's what I'm saying. But
and posters everywhere.
Yes, right, and it's illegal. But as long as INEC cannot prove that it comes from a candidate's campaign, then they cannot penalize him. So we are a country of few people with too much resources that they can just bring out money and erect billboard on behalf of a candidate. And the candidate might truly not know who is doing this. People do this on behalf of their preferred candidate without the knowledge of that candidate. They just sign their name for attention to say, don't buy this. So
okay, can't INEC go after that person?
Yes. So these are the things that we need to bring out. That is why we have senators that represent us. These are some of the things that we need to... Are we
looking at senators and representatives or senators that benefit from what you just said?
Yeah, but I don't believe in painting everybody with the same brush.
Okay.
So if we have 109 senators, I believe at least there's one person there that is there for every law that is passed, you find 5-7 people that oppose it. So whether they are right or they are wrong, at least they have an opposing view. And that is what we need. So we just need somebody to bring it up that private citizens can no longer erect billboard, especially when it is not within the campaign calendar. And when it's within campaign calendar, how do we regulate what volunteers can do? Because as well, we cannot ask people not to volunteer for their preferred candidates. So we just need to find a way to make a law that can bring some form of normalcy and some decency into our campaigns, because it disrupts everything. It's very distracting. In my own opinion, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has started his campaign since 2023 when he was sworn into office. Because for everything that he has done, there is a picture of him there. And these roads, these projects are done with our collective wealth. That is the job that he begged for and campaigned for. So I don't see a reason why, if we drive on Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road now, you see his picture at every meter. If you go on Third Mainland Bridge, because he renovated the Third Mainland Bridge, there's his picture on everything. In my own opinion, that is calendar. So we need to find a way to
separate
these things.
Okay. I hope everybody's watching. Now, let me come to you. You've been quiet and just thinking about this. Do you think we should start clamping down on campaign outside the campaign calendar? Do you think we should start clamping down on excess spending?
I mean, raised a particular point of issue. How do you monitor it? Because they would also tell you that election costs money.
Definitely, we know
money, because you have to mobilize party agents, you have to give them stipends for transportation, feeding, all that.
Yes, that we know.
So they might come from that angle that they would need liquid cash to pay these party agents.
But we can put a limit to it.
There's a limit to it in the Constitution. There is a limit.
But a limit that is never ever followed.
That's what I'm saying. So that is why I digress, because a lot of the spending is done by party volunteers. That is not coming from the official coffers or account of the political party.
One civil society can come out and
and buy your on that.
Yes, and buy your no. I'm talking about this coming back. One civil society, the same whereby civil societies buy forms for this thing.
It's already happening.
It's already
in Kogi. The governor of Kogi took a check of 100 million naira to the president to say the youth in Kogi wants to pay for the presidential.
That's where we should start tracking who are the youths.
That's
the
one.
Names.
Secondly, in Abia State,
25.
that is APC. In Abia State too, some group of people have come up with another 100 million naira check for Governor Alex Oti to buy his own form as well. So that is two different parties.
Okay.
Federal government, state government. So everybody is guilty of this. The other time in Kaduna too, some people came up with money when El Rufai was contesting for a second term to say, I think it's the same 100 million, to say we are buying. They say they are farmers in Kaduna. They raised the money to say we are buying your
farm. Some people did that for Jonathan.
For Buhari to the same thing. So you see, all of this money, how do we track it? What are we going to call legal and illegal within the electoral framework? So these are the questions that we need to answer, because there will be excess liquidity in circulation. By the time they start convention, it starts from there. Because convention, you want to bring people from 36 states to one place. You are looking at logistics. You are looking at hotel. And people are going to leave their jobs. So you have to compensate them.
But those are jobs. Those are services that people are providing for. So you are paying for services. Can you talk about
the practicality of it was that there are conventions in this country where each delegate were getting $2,000, $5,000, $10,000. In fact, there's a presidential candidate in Nigeria that is known for dollar. When you hear primary election, they tell you he contests mercilessly in primaries. Dollar will start flying.
Remember Osun election, and the slogan there was dollar for dollar, pound for pound, naira for naira. So I think INEC, the onus is on INEC. When is the stipulated time to start campaigning, and when is the stipulated time to stop campaigning? INEC need to enforce that.
And beyond that, politicians should, for example, this particular statement, I saw the video, that was the statement made by the governor, Governor Adeleke. At the time, he was a candidate. He said it on national TV. We are going to meet them naira for naira, dollar for dollar. That is a clear, careless statement that should not be coming from a mouth of somebody that wants to lead a state, that wants to uphold our law, that wants to defend our constitution.
Okay, but right now, let's ask this direct question. The EFCC, the ICPC, Nigerian police, and the DSS, are they toothless when it comes to spending during this period?
Well, they say he who pays the piper dictates the tune. So are they going to go after the opposition? What happens to the incumbent? Will they go after them?
Last election, offenders were arrested across party lines.
Okay.
When you say offenders, that were those that were sharing stipends at pulling booths.
Regardless, the offenders, they were caught with the cash, and investigation, we don't know how far it goes, because in solving a crime, you just need to start from whoever you cannot arrest somebody based on suspect to say, oh, you are running for governor and I think you'll be giving out money, so we're arresting you. So you arrest the person with the cash. So it's left from the pressure that you put on your suspects that will now say, oh, this cash is from this senator. Then you follow the money up the ladder to say, where did this money come from? But my point is, we didn't see the end of that investigation. Even if you didn't get to the particular politician that is sending the money down, if the foot soldiers are sent to jail, if he was sent to jail in 2023 and he's just coming out in 2026 or in 2027, then other people will remember to say, this is what this person did, that sent him to Kirikiri or Sokoto, as the case may be, so I'm not going to do it. So if you cannot find foot soldiers, the senator or the governor will not come out and start sharing money by themselves. They need foot soldiers. So if you cannot get the big fish, make sure that the foot soldiers, they pay for it, because they are equally committing crime.